Welcome back to another episode of Paleontology Bingo. So I decided to be an idiot and accidentally deleted my recordings for the Megalodon. Even Megalodon was afraid of this creature thing, 27 minutes long. This is 10 minutes long. It's made by another person, so enjoy.
They make legends about it and see it in their nightmares. It's the real terror of the ocean. It's Megalodon.
Another Megalodon video. So the first segment, the first block that we're going to tile we're going to circle is a segment contains Megalodon, which is self-explanatory.
It seems that the colossal shark has no equal, but it's not so. And today you'll see it. This is Smart Pizza. And in this episode, you'll learn about creatures stronger than the famous Megalodon.
The only thing I could possibly think of that is stronger than Megalodon are Titanic sauropods like Argentinosaurus. And then, is this a good comparison?
Let's go. Mosasaurus versus Megalodon.
Even when it comes to the insane Mosasaurus from Jurassic World. Okay, the insane Mosasaurus would actually probably defeat Megalodon quite a few times. Megalodon would still have a little bit of a chance if it is oversized, at least.
To properly compare these two ancient giants, you definitely need to know them a little better. The first thing that comes to mind is, of course, size. That's where we start. Megalodon, if you consider the movies, could easily reach a size of 80 feet and 40 tons.
Oh, both of these estimates are just absolutely stupid, man. Both of them. I've never heard of that, man. Okay, Megalodon should be bigger, but should be shorter than this.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, according to scientists, everything was a little more modest. Based on the study of the remains found, people concluded that the fish didn't exceed 50 feet in length and weighed less than 30 tons.
Okay, this is a bit of a ridiculous undersizing. Just under double that is Megalodon's low estimate.
But actually, that's not bad at all either. As for the size of Mosasaurus, the reptile, which died out more than 60 million years ago.
More like it died at the end of the Cretaceous because of the KPG extinction event. Had it lived if it lived just over 60 million years ago, 61 to 62, 63, 64, even 65 million years ago, it would have survived the KPG mass extinction, which did not happen.
It was also famous for its size, and by the way, was also featured in the movies. In the movies, the size was also increased for the sake of entertainment, but even with this in mind, in my opinion, Mosasaurus looked much bigger and more dangerous. Scientists agree with me and say that the average length of the largest individuals was 55 feet.
Now it can be considered outdated, as the current Mosasaurus had a length of around 12.4 meters.
Body mass was calculated based on the modern reconstruction of Mosasaurus. At this length, Mosasaurus hoffmanni weighed 27 tons, which is comparable to the mass of its rival. The next parameter, which usually turns out to be even more important than size, is bite force.
In which the Megalodon would definitely just take an edge over here. It would basically just chomp the real Mosasaurus in half.
Let's start with Megalodon. You might think that such a huge monster must have bitten incredibly hard.
Yes, because it literally had the most powerful bite force of anything that lived on this planet Earth. As well as that, don't call the Megalodon a monster. Just because it is huge doesn't mean it should be called a monster.
That's true, but it's all relative. For example, Megalodon bit only 3 times harder than the modern record holder, the saltwater crocodile. And given its size, I think that's a bit of a poor result. The shark's jaws were packed with very strong teeth, which were about 8 inches long. It was the teeth that made the main theory that Megalodon was a scavenger.
You're saying that Megalodon is a scavenger? Are you actually kidding me right now? This is absolute madness.
The giant shark's opponent, Mosasaurus, was more impressive. Its bite force was supposedly twice as powerful as that of Megalodon.
What in the actual ding-dong is this? This just bombed harder than I don't know.
Another important advantage is the fact that Mosasaurus often hunted each other, and this gave them invaluable experience of fighting with such giants as they were. The ancient shark had no such experience. Maneuverability is the next parameter worth talking about. What good is your super powerful bite if your enemy simply dodges you, right? You could say that about Mosasaurus if you don't go too deep into history, but in practice it's different. The fact is that because of the already mentioned habit of Mosasaurus to hunt their congeners, it improved its combat skills.
Doesn't mean it's going to stand much of a chance against something as huge as a Megalodon. It's basically just David versus Goliath at this point. Paleontologically speaking, how is this battle even fair?
Including positional attack and defense, as well as movement in the fight itself. In addition, it weighed slightly less than Megalodon, which also played to its advantage. And even if Megalodon decides to attack first, which is its only option to win because of the binocular structure of the eyes.
Also, Megalodon had greater sense of smell, so it is more likely that Megalodon would be able to detect the Mosasaurus first and then make moves before the Mosasaurus could actually react to the Megalodon.
Mosasaurus can notice the huge shark and make a defensive maneuver in time. While the slow shark prepares to lunge again, Mosasaurus will bite the opponent's abdomen, where the softest tissues of the shark are located.
Megalodon is robust, and I think Megalodon can take a hit like this.
This is where their encounter will end. As you understand, creatures capable of defeating the legendary shark did exist.
There are creatures like Leviathan, which could defeat the Megalodon a bunch of times. But like, what is the Megalodon's biggest competitor? It's probably going to be other Megalodons.
And I'll tell you even more. There were a whole lot of them. Another opponent is Kronosaurus.
Ironically enough, Kronosaurus is even less of an opponent for the Megalodon than the Mosasaurus.
This is a marine predator that lived approximately 120 to 99 million years ago. According to the remains, it weighed over 10 tons.
Still not enough to go after the, the Megalodon, because the Megalodon is simply way too big for the Kronosaurus to deal with. If the Mosasaurus is going to be chomped in half by the Megalodon, the Kronosaurus would be chomped into 6 pieces.
It was more than 30 feet long and had terrifying jaws. Its teeth were enormous and could reach up to 12 inches from root to tip. It's been estimated that the bite force of Kronosaurus was almost twice that of a large saltwater crocodile. The teeth could easily crush hard objects, such as the most solid shells of sea turtles. It seems logical to me to assume that the soft belly of Megalodon, or some other part of its body, could easily have been damaged by the Kronosaurus attack.
Problem is, Megalodon would have probably seen the ambush coming, because the Megalodon had a greater sense of smell. It would likely be able to detect the Kronosaurus first.
Plus, this hunter was quite maneuverable, which would have been especially advantageous in a battle with Megalodon, all thanks to its short neck.
Ding ding, we have a Jurassic World evolution, Jurassic World evolution model, which means that there is a vertical bingo in Paleontology bingo.
In fact, the creature's entire body was ergonomic and streamlined. This meant that it was narrowed at both ends and offered very little resistance to the flow of water. It also had 4 flipper-like limbs. It could easily swim, even against the most unpleasant and strong current, catch up with the targets it needed, and deftly deal with them, leaving no chance for the prey to survive. In comparison with Kronosaurus, Megalodon would be a huge, motionless carcass.
There is a reason why Megalodon could live for so long. It's because it could hunt its prey like any other predator would. So Megalodon should be quite fast, even though its cruising speed is just slow when it's not hunting, of course.
Which would have been easier for a Kronosaurus to trick and confuse. The shark was lucky that Kronosaurus lived at a different time. Spinosaurus. It's famous, first of all, for being the largest terrestrial predator of all time.
Spinosaurus. Okay, to this person's credit, they actually used a Spinosaurus from Julian Justin Mortimer. Man, that is a very accurate Spinosaurus over here. Especially compared to Monsters Resurrected one, which is absolutely insane. This one is really accurate. Even when this guy made this video, like just over a year ago, this is a very accurate model. This is a very accurate model, even to this day.
Well, at least Spinosaurus is definitely among the leaders among terrestrial predators. This big guy could reach 50 feet in length.
Which is an outdated estimate. It more likely reached around 43 feet. It still makes it the longest theropod, but in the mass department, the T-Rex is bigger.
And weigh more than 7 tons. Unlike the creatures we've already seen, Spinosaurus moved on 4 legs and led a semi-aquatic lifestyle, eating fish. It may seem that such creatures lived everywhere at that time, but not so. This monster was unique in every sense and occupied a special niche.
I hate it every time people call these animals monsters. Even this majestic water dragon. Can you please leave the Spinosaurus alone? Even with the Spinosaurus, this is a dinosaur outdated model, by the way.
It's not every day you see a giant that hunts on land and, realizing that there's no suitable prey here yet, dives under the water. Speaking of hunting, do you know how Spinosaurus dealt with its prey? It had rather long jaws with curved teeth, so it had to shake its prey violently to finish it off. It's believed that it was a kind of crocodile.
Thing is that even though the Spinosaurus is probably a better swimmer than most other non-avian dinosaurs, it is not as good as what people may think of as Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus was semi-aquatic and just waiting for fish most of the time. And could it dive? Possibly.
Which could walk around on land and at the same time feel great underwater. And because of its powerful jaws and unusual hunting style, Spinosaurus could easily deal with all other predators. They simply weren't ready for this kind of crocodile of the time.
Calling Spinosaurus a crocodile is just a little bit ridiculous, though. And also, the Megalodon would beat it 100% of the time because of the incredible size disparity. Kronosaurus would probably lose 100% of the time as well. Mosasaurus would probably win like a few times out of 100. Not even 10 though. Probably not even 5 times. Maybe like 3 or 4.
Purasaurus.
If you're going to talk about the Purasaurus, then show the Purasaurus instead of the Spinosaurus. God. By the way, Purasaurus cannot beat the Megalodon. Megalodon is still way too big.
Although, actually comparing Spinosaurus to a crocodile would be wrong.
Thing is, Purasaurus is a caveman. It's going to be more related to an alligator than a crocodile.
Yes, they have similar lifestyles, but in fact the real crocodile of antiquity was Purasaurus.
Another model from Jurassic World alive. Well then, Purasaurus, that's a Purasaurus Gen 2.
Who?
Purasaurus. Purasaurus. These hunters were 40 feet long, weighing more than 8 tons, had a bite that's among the top 5 most powerful in history. Goes without saying that Purasaurus struck fear into all the ancient creatures of its time. Not long ago, a researcher accidentally stumbled upon a Purasaurus jaw. And do you know what it discovered? He found out that it was about 5 feet long. 5 feet.
You're saying that as if it's going to blow everyone's brains out. No, it did not for me. I don't think any other paleontologists would, have their brains blown out unless if the Purasaurus is of truly gigantic proportions.
Just for the jaw. By comparison, the jaw of the saltwater crocodile, the modern record holder among green toothy monsters, is half as long.
Is even calling modern animals monsters. I have no words for this.
The broad and massive jaw looked as if it had fallen off the skull of some large dinosaur.
every time someone just makes an incredibly stupid statement like this, I take my glasses off and cover my face due to how I can't even comprehend what even is happening.
And here you would think, that must have been a dinosaur's jaw.
Yes!
To be fair, dinosaurs and crocodilians are descended from the same Archosauria.
How did scientists determine that it belongs specifically to Purasaurus? Well, there's an answer to that. The crocodilian essence was revealed by the special structure of some of the bones, as well as the wide and blunt teeth, arranged so as to not fall apart during bites of terrifying power, for which all crocodilians are famous.
I forgot what is this movie clip, but this is definitely not fit in a supposedly educational paleontology video like this.
By the way, even here, the river monster dashingly outstripped almost all of its relatives.
Still facts that have nothing to do with why Purasaurus could apparently beat the Megalodon, kill the Megalodon, whatever.
Its mighty bite crushed its prey with the force of 178,000 newtons. Of course, at this size, hunting some small fish makes no sense. So Purasaurus was looking for prey bigger. As for Megalodon, it lived elsewhere, albeit at the same time as Purasaurus.
That doesn't mean the Megalodon and Purasaurus lived in this supercontinent that is formed 250 million years into the future. Is this geology at this point? Are we talking about paleontology or geology now?
It's hard to say which animal would have been stronger in the fight.
Megalodon, no more questions. There's literally nothing else.
But the huge crocodile might well have had the advantage, at least because of its incredible bite.
Still not a match for Megalodon. Guys, y'all are literally forgetting Megalodon literally had the strongest bite force of any animal that ever existed.
Saurophaganax.
This is even more ridiculous. Even when it comes to the giant Saurophaganax known as the Leviathan, Saurophaganax, that Saurophaganax Leviathan would still lose to the Megalodon. Couldn't even pull the Megalodon up when Megalodon is too big. It's not going to.
The name of the next monster translates as Lord of Lizard Eaters.
Stop calling these animals monsters. I literally have a brain aneurysm every time somebody calls these animals monsters.
Which already sounds quite promising, doesn't it? The size of this predator is estimated at 43 feet, with a weight of more than 4 tons. If you compare it to well-known monsters, it would be the most similar to the classic dinosaurs we're all used to seeing in movies.
The dude did it again. The dude made me hold my glasses off, take my glasses off, and cover my face. How insane this is. Oh my god.
The giant walked on 2 legs, using the other 2 in extreme cases.
By the way, we're using Planet Dinosaur Allosaurus footage, which had the outdated hatchet theory. And Allosaurus is not Saurophaganax, although to be fair, Saurophaganax does look like just a bigger Allosaurus with nothing else in it.
It could hunt both on land and in water, but it never swam very deep. It didn't have the best relationship with water. Perhaps because of this factor, Saurophaganax would have lost to Megalodon, but who knows?
It's going to lose to Megalodon. Is there any logical way for Saurophaganax to beat Megalodon besides Saurophaganax magically gaining wizard powers to burn the Megalodon?
Maybe if you put them under equal conditions at the same time, the dinosaur would still prevail. What do you think?
No, it will not. And it will go to the Purgatory Mansion from inanimate insanity because of its miserable death.
If the previous lizard carries the title of a classic for us, then the next one clearly stands out against its background. Now I'll talk about an incredibly strange dinosaur with long claws, which name is Therizinosaurus.
Okay, Therizinosaurus against Megalodon. Is Therizinosaurus... Do you just pluck Megalodon on land and let Therizinosaurus stab it? Megalodon is never going to go on land. Megalodon did not have lungs. It's going to suffocate on land.
This unusual creature has been recognized as the strangest dinosaur, as well as the owner of the longest claws found. The giant lived at the end of the Cretaceous period, about 70 million years ago, on the territory of modern Mongolia. By the way, originally it was mistakenly attributed to the large water turtle by several broken claws found in 1948.
Not more Jurassic Park / Jurassic World footage.
Its body length reached 30 feet, and it weighed 5 tons. Its neck was long, which was not the case with its teeth and jaw in general.
Oh, so it's a battle between a stronger Rexy, a more realistic Rexy, I guess. You know, Rexy was literally a pushover in Jurassic World Dominion, so there was a remade battle of it.
But why did Therizinosaurus need these teeth if, as you've already understood, its main feature was the claws? By the way, it didn't use them to slap its opponents, as they usually show in movies. Therizinosaurus tried to pierce its prey with sharp, stabbing blows. That's all, guys. Which animal do you consider to be the most worthy opponent for Megalodon? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.
A bunch of ridiculous statements in this video. My god, they are so avoidable. Here is the result of this paleontology bingo. 2 bingos, man. Absolute madness. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.